What's up, Loyola, and welcome back to the Cover 3. I'm your host, Rob Fredrickson, and joining me is Brendan Highland and Mike Valenti. Let's get right into it, guys. We have 3 topics to go over in professional sports. And let's start nowhere other than Lynn Sanity from the New York Knicks. Jeremy Lin is still on a tear. It's unbelievable. The Knicks are on a 5-game winning streak now, guys. And he's playing out of his mind. I'll just give you some of the numbers right now. He's averaging 27 points per game, 8 assists, and just to throw that out there, he's averaging 4 rebounds too over this 5-game stretch. But Brendan, I'll throw this to you first. We know Melo and Amari haven't been playing with Jeremy Lin during this stretch. So how is he going to fit in with the team now, and how will the team fare once they come back into the mix?
I think that it'll be interesting to see really how Amari and Melo do fit in with Jeremy Lin. The one thing I would say is that Mike D'Antoni, when he's been successful, has had a playmaking point guard that's kind of ran the show and has gotten everybody else involved. It was obviously Steve Nash in Phoenix. I'm not saying that Jeremy Lin is Steve Nash. That would be ridiculous for me to say. But if he can play like Steve Nash and get Carmelo almost, I don't want to say in a Sean Marion mold, but get him going up and down and get him going in rhythm and in transition instead of having him play in the half court, I think that they could mesh pretty well.
I would definitely agree that it's going to be very interesting. But for me, I think this is perfect for Amari Stoudemire. He's the best pick and roll big man in basketball. Yeah. Looks like Jeremy Lin can run the pick and roll, so they're going to be doing that all day. For me, the person you got to worry about maybe a little bit is Melo. But Melo's a superstar. There's no reason why he shouldn't mesh. And if he plays well with Lin, this could be the most fun he's ever had playing basketball, because you can see Lin has talent. He knows how to distribute the ball. And this is a point guard the Knicks have needed since they've acquired these two.
And I agree with what you're saying, Mike. For Melo, this could be a dream come true. In reality, I mean, if they run the pick and roll, Jeremy Lin knows how to distribute the ball. He could find Melo wide open in the mid-range at the three-point line, and Melo won't really have to create for himself all the time. He'll be able to take some time, find the open spots on the floor, and Lin will be able to find them. If you saw in the one game that they did play together in the Nets game, Lin found Melo open at the three-point line numerous times just from driving in the lane, running that pick and roll at Amari. It could be a very dangerous dynamic trio, I guess you can call it now. And if Lin keeps this up, maybe he's not going to be averaging the 28 points a game that he averaged during this stretch. But I do think that he can get up there to close to the 10 assists range, and I think he could be very dangerous as a point guard.
I think the other thing though that will be interesting to see is Carmelo for most of his career has been somebody who has dominated the ball on offense. Now, when you have a point guard that can really dominate the ball and facilitate, how do you adjust playing off the ball more? Can you get open? Can you still get the shots that you want? I think that would be interesting to see.
Yeah. For me, he'll get the rest he needs during the game, and he is a superstar like we were saying. He has to learn how to not dominate the ball all the time. No more ISOs, because as you see, the Knicks were 8 and 15 before they got him.
Right.
So Melo, for me, it has to work out, because if it doesn't, then there's going to be a lot of problems.
I think if it doesn't work out, I think it's on Melo. Because we've seen what you can do without him. Now plug him in, and it should be.
And we all talk about D'Antoni and how has he not gotten this offense running, but we know D'Antoni needs that point guard. And right now, he has that point guard. So there really are no more excuses. I think Melo needs to maybe I'm not saying his ego is up there right now, but he definitely does need to try and coexist with Jeremy Lin. I think Jeremy Lin needs to try and coexist with him. I think it's a two-way street, and I think they could be very successful together. But the right things do need to happen on that offense, and D'Antoni, if he's a good coach, I believe they will be playing very well together. But guys, say Jeremy Lin keeps this up, he's absolutely killing it all the way through the rest of the season. Do you ever see this becoming Jeremy Lin's team?
I think on the floor, I think people say, yeah, this is Lin's team. He runs this team very well. I think in terms of the public perception of him in the headlines, I don't think he ever will. But just because of the 3 names of Amari, D'Antoni, and Carmelo will dominate the headlines, dominate the press, regardless of whether or not they're playing well, whether or not they're playing poorly. It's going to come down to those 3. And that's not necessarily a bad thing for Jeremy Lin.
For me, they're going to have to adjust to all 3 of them have to adjust to each other's games. I think Amari's going to fit in perfectly, like we said, pick and roll all day long. But with Melo, he's going to have to adjust to Jeremy Lin. Melo's not going to be able to dominate the ball all the time. He's not going to be able to come up with the ball, up the court with the ball all the time. So Melo's going to have to learn to maybe post up a little bit, wait around the three-point line, wait for Jeremy Lin to dish in the ball. And the same thing, Jeremy Lin's going to learn, too, now that he's not going to have the ball in his hands all the time. So he can't turn the ball over as much as he has been. He has turned the ball over 5.5 times a game. He's going to have the ball a lot less, so he's going to have to keep those turnovers down. But I think he will, because he's a young point guard, and he'll learn how to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure it's ever going to become Jeremy Lin's team. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but like you said, with those names, Amari and Stoudemire, Amari and Melo there, it really, that's a tough way to go to say it's going to be Jeremy Lin's team. Who knows, maybe in the future, this kid will become an absolute stud, all-star, then maybe you can make that case if he really makes those guys that much better.
For me, if Lynn wants to become his team, he has to be the closer, and there's no way he's going to be the closer over Carmelo
Not
Anthony.
a chance.
You know who's getting the ball the last 2 minutes of the
Right,
game.
exactly.
Lynn just has to make sure he's going to be able to get the ball to these guys in open spots where they can make quality.
And just to
quality
go off
scoring
that, I think
chances.
that once they get back, Lynn, all he has to do is make sure that the game is close in the 2-minute mark. You know, tied or up 1 or up 2, whatever, and then in the last 2 minutes, okay, you can run a few sets, or you can just throw it to Carmelo and say, go one-on-one, make a play, because Carmelo can do that, and that's his strong suit.
Well, guys, while we're on the topic of point guards, I saw an interesting thing on ESPN the other day. They were named the top 5 point guards. Didn't quite agree with all the analysts. So, Brent, I'm going to go to you. What is name your top 5 point guards in the NBA?
Well, my top 5 point guards right now are Chris Paul, Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook. I'm going to surprise you guys, Steve Nash, still averaging a double-double at his old age, and Darren Williams. But really, I think that all of them, mainly Paul more than the rest of them, I think that he is the one that you could throw on any team in the league, and instantly that team goes from, you know, good team, playoff team, to maybe a championship contender. And I'm not saying championship winner, but contender.
For me, I'm going to have to go Derrick Rose, number 1. He was the MVP of the league last year. He has to score for the Bulls. The Bulls don't have that many scoring options, and that's how his game is tailored to Chicago. Now, if he was on the Clippers, I guarantee you he'd be more a facilitator. He's bigger than Chris Paul. He's quicker. He finishes almost better than anyone in the league, and he may be the MVP of the league again if the Bulls finish first again in the Eastern Conference. I'm going to go 2, CP3. 3, Rajon Rondo. Everyone forgets about him, but the man just gets double-digit assists every single game. 4, I'm going to go Russell Westbrook. And 5, I'm going to go Deron Williams. Deron Williams has been disappointing me this year. I think it's because the Nets are so bad. The Nets had a better team. Deron Williams is arguably the second best point guard in the NBA, but that's my top 5.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Mike, with D Rose. He is the reigning MVP. I mean, him and Chris Paul are so close to me. I mean, maybe Chris Paul's a better pure point, but you bring up the good point that Derrick Rose doesn't have all that talent around him, and the matchup problem he creates at the 1 for any team is so tremendous. He plays defense. And he's just, they note it. He's so big and strong. Even Chris Paul said it. It's really almost impossible for anyone to guard him in the NBA. I'm going to go with CP3 on my number 2 and Rondo number 3 like you, Mike. The guy, he's probably the only one on this that could really come close to getting that triple-double every night. He rebounds the ball, and he really makes that Celtics squad what it is. You can name the big 3, Pierce, Garnett, and Ray Allen there, but without Rondo, those guys wouldn't be nearly as good as they are right now. And 4, I'm going to go Deron Williams. Even though he's fallen off this year, he isn't playing with that spirit he used to. The Nets they're awful. I can't say anything else about it. They really don't have any playmakers around him. Marshawn Brooks is their second best player, and he's a rookie. You really can't blame Deron. He's still averaging 22 and 9, I believe. So, I mean, he's still having a great season. And I'm going to go Russell Westbrook 5. He needs to improve his passing with Durant there and everything, but he's still an explosive point guard who can get to the rim, and he defends the ball very well. And guys, you have something there?
I was going to say, I think people are starting to realize, too, that the best player on the Celtics is Rajon Rondo. It's been like this for 3 years now where he is a glue of this team. And nothing against CP3, but Derrick Rose is a different animal.
Yeah, he really is. He's a new specimen for the number 1. Guys, let's hop right into number 2 right now. We'll keep it in the NBA and give you a little update. And we have some rumors going around the rumor mill in the NBA and possible additions to teams. Now, we know the Lakers have been playing much better of late. They're finally in the playoff hunt. They're number 5 in the Western Conference now. But now they're talking about adding Gilbert Arenas, Brendan. What could that do for this team?
I guess what it can do on the positive side is it gives them somebody who can knock down shots. So, you know, at times if Kobe's out of the game, Kobe's struggling, whatever, it's another guy who on the perimeter can get his own shot, can knock down open shots. I personally don't like the move. I don't think it's a good idea. This is something that the Lakers do not need. Gilbert Arenas is old. He's slow. He's lost a step. He's not a good defender. And the problem that the Lakers have is defending all these point guards that we mentioned, the Roses, the Westbrooks, the Nashes. I mean, not Nash as much because he's not as quick, but the younger, more athletic point guards, that's their problem. They need to address that, not go get old Gilbert Arenas.
I think this is an awful decision for the Lakers. Gilbert Arenas shoots as much as Kobe Bryant, but doesn't hit as many shots.
Right.
Like you said, he doesn't play any defense. Yeah, he is still an upgrade over Steve Blake and Derek Fisher, but the Lakers don't need this. How about the Lakers try to go out and sign Aaron Brooks,
Right.
who's coming over for China, who would be a perfect point guard for them. He's quick, can defend, he gets steals, he also scores, and can be a facilitator. So for them to work out Gilbert Arenas, I think is a little ridiculous. I think it's because the hype and everything else, but there is no way that Gilbert Arenas is going to the Lakers.
Well, Kobe's on record saying that it can't hurt the Lakers, and I question how they're bringing in Gilbert Arenas. So they bring in Gilbert Arenas thinking they're going to get the old Gilbert Arenas who's putting up 20 points a game. I doubt that they're bringing him in for that reason. If they're bringing him in to bring him in off the bench or maybe be the fifth starter and play more of that shooting guard role and shoot the ball, then I could understand it. You know, he could be a good shooter at times and he could take some of the stress off of Kobe shooting the ball all the time. But at the same time, I really put him in the class of Baron Davis right now. His prime was 3, 4, 5 years ago, and right now, like you said, Brendan, he just lost that step. He's not the same player anymore. And for him to come to the season halfway like this, I don't think he's going to be able to keep up with the rest of the guys in the league right now. But in another team that may be adding another person is somebody who's been killing it over in China is J.R. Smith. He might be coming over to the Clippers. Brendan, what would that do for the team?
I think that this, opposite of what we just said about Gilbert Arenas, I think that J.R. Smith could be a good move for the Clippers. It's somebody who has unlimited range, spreads the floor out for Paul to go to the basket, for Griffin to do his work in the post. It gives Caron Butler, who is a good one-on-one player, it gives him more room to work. J.R. Smith's a capable defender. I mean, he's not a bad defender. And with Billups going out for the year and Mo Williams kind of in flux between do you start him, do you bring him in off the bench, J.R. Smith's another guy who you can start, you can bring him off the bench, and he can get hot real quick and hit 4 or 5 threes in a row and just, give your team momentum or just expand leads.
I guess everyone wants to join Lob City these days.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Dwayne Wade and LeBron will come over too now. But J.R. Smith, very talented basketball player. Guy could score 40 off the bench. Like you said, Brendan, he's a three-point shooter, and something that they're missing with Chauncey Billups, like you saw in the game versus the Mavericks last night. They don't really have anyone that could ice a game with a three-point shot.
Right.
Caron Butler missed a wide-open three-pointer to basically win them the game. This would be a very good signing for them. He's also could be a Lob City person himself. He's also a high flyer as well.
He's a freak.
So why not sign J.R. Smith?
I'm going to tell you, I do love this move. I think that would be great for the Clippers because, I mean, he's staying fresh. Talking about a guy, Gilbert Arenas, who hasn't been playing. J.R. Smith's been staying fresh, and there's just reports of how badly he's embarrassing everybody overseas. So I really do think that he could almost step right into that starting role with Chauncey going out. You know, they don't really need a guy who's going to be out there who's going to defend much. I mean, hopefully he does defend. We know J.R. Smith could be lackluster on defense, but he's going to be able to shoot lights out. CP3 is going to find him all the time. He could be a perfect fit for this team. Could make the Clippers even scarier in the Western Conference.
I think that he immediately, if he does join this team, first, I think he immediately becomes their best outside shooter on the team on a consistent basis. Mo Williams can shoot it, but he's kind of streaky. I think that J.R. Smith becomes their best outside shooter, and he's not afraid of the big shot at all. He's not afraid of the spotlight.
They already have a really good bench. If he joins that bench, it's by far the best bench in the NBA.
Right.
Yeah, the Clippers are looking very good right now. I mean, they're still just learning how to play together, and they just keep getting more solid as the season goes on. But guys, to wrap up the NBA talk, Dwight Howard, he says he wants to stay in in Orlando, and he wants to put them on the back and win a title there. Mike, do you see him staying there past the trade deadline?
Absolutely not. I think he's either going to the Nets or the Lakers. Let's face it, Orlando does not have enough players around Dwight Howard to win a game. And Dwight Howard says now he wants to be a closer, but he's going to have to learn how to shoot free throws because now they're just going to hack at Howard. So for me, I think he's either going to go to the Lakers or he's going to get traded to the Nets and play with Deron Williams. And Orlando just can't let him go like they let Shaq go. They're going to have to get something for him. And I think that's what they're going to do.
I think that Orlando should let him go, but I almost hesitate to say that they will. I think that they would be willing to, but I think that, the teams that have enough to give Magic would be more reluctant to trade them all these valuable assets because teams like the Lakers, you're talking about giving up Gasol or Bynum, who has been having a career year.
Possibly both.
Yeah, I mean, and you're losing 2 7-footers, you're gaining 1. Okay, yeah, cool, but those two, Gasol and Bynum, are probably the 2 best tandem big men, maybe in the league, at least in terms of their skill and their experience.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, this is just a general hunch. I don't see him leaving the Magic. I just think he loves it there. I feel like they may try to make a trade deadline move to bring somebody in to make them semi-competitors this year, but at the same time, Dwight, I think he's going to eventually be out there. I think one of the possibilities is if they see how Brook Lopez comes back, he's supposed to be coming back from injury now. If he comes back strong, I think that the Magic will definitely consider a trade with the Nets because I mean, Brook Lopez is a solid center, and
They're getting
other than
some
the
back from
Lakers,
And they got
you get
pieces.
something
Yeah,
there.
I mean they're getting pieces. They could get a Lopez. I mean, I hate to say this, it might sound dumb, but they could possibly get a Marshawn Brooks. That's somebody who's
Yep.
young, up and coming. Maybe you throw him in there.
I mean, Duran and Dwight on the same team would be dangerous. But guys, let's hop into another topic right now, topic number 2. And I was reading this article on ESPN today, guys. Roddy White is extremely upset about Roger Goodell's salary as NFL commissioner. It is reported that he makes about $20 million a year after his contract is up. Brendan, is this too much, or do you agree with this?
Well, I don't know who sets the salary. Like for Roger Goodell, I don't know how all that works, but I will say this: if Roger Goodell is making $20 million, one, that's ridiculous. I don't think that he should be making anywhere near that amount of money. But two, Roddy White, why do you care? You're making, $10 million or however much he makes a year. You can't really complain about somebody else making 20.
One, NFL's TV ratings have been the highest they've ever been since the NFL started. He's making a lot of money for the owners and a lot of money for a lot of people who are associated with the league. So the owners feel like they should compensate Roger Goodell with a lot of money because he's been a great CEO. You look at any CEO of a 500 Fortune company or anything, they're going to get paid well if they expand the company.
Right.
And even Roddy White's owner is a part of the board that allows for Roger Goodell to get his salary.
Yes.
I think he's the head commissioner
He
of
was
it.
actually the one that signed off on this.
So the bottom line is, like Mark Slorette said today on ESPN, Roddy White, no one's going to remember you in 20 years. Yeah, you're a good player. That's how the NFL is. People are probably going to remember who Roger Goodell is, not you, Roddy White.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can understand Roddy White's gripe about this, but my first general reaction was yours, Brendan. Wow, that is an absurd number. It's $20 million a year. I mean, how is this guy getting paid this, especially right after we came out of the lockout where money was so tight? But then I started looking at the numbers. I started reading a few more articles, and it's true. Like you said, Mike, he basically is the CEO of a major corporation, and he handles $10 billion a year. That is an extensive amount of revenue to be handling, and the CEOs get paid that big money. So $20 million a year, it may seem excessive, but when you reach that level and you could be a top level executive like that, I guess it's time to earn the big bucks. And I mean, he's basically heading up one of the largest corporations in the entire world, because we know the NFL generates as much revenue as any other corporation in this country.
I mean, we may not like the new AFL, the Arena Football League, but the bottom line is more people watch the sport than ever before, and he's making a lot of money for plenty of people, including the owners, so they're going to repay him.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, players don't like it much, but I think when it comes down to it and you look at it from a business perspective, he really does deserve it, and it is what the paying rate for a CEO would be in that type of corporation. Guys, just a last question to end out the NFL. Randy Moss, he's planning to return to football. Do you see him landing anywhere? Where would he be a good fit, Brendan?
I guess I don't even know if I see him coming back. I don't know if he's got anything left in the tank. I mean, he says he does, but all these athletes say they do the same way Gilbert Arenas says he does. So who really knows about that? Do I see him being a good fit in some places? Yeah, I could see him being a deep threat for the Jets. I know that this might sound dumb, but the Patriots. I mean, the one thing that they lacked this year was a deep threat. He would be a good fit there. I know that there's past experiences to say otherwise, but who knows? And I'm sure there's plenty of other teams that would look at him and say, look, if he still has a little left, we would take a risk on him.
There's no doubt in my mind that he still runs a 4.3. The man is a tremendous athlete. My thing is, he has been a quitter his entire career.
Yep.
When the teams are bad, he quits. He doesn't want to play. He gets down on himself.
Right.
He has to be on a team where you have a stable superstar quarterback, and a team like the Saints, the Chargers, like you said, the Patriots again, possibly. Maybe even the Packers, any team with a superstar quarterback, maybe even the Giants still, team with a very good quarterback that can get him on the wraps and is a good team. That's a great fit for Randy Moss because, like we said, he's definitely going to be still explosive, and he's been able to streak down the sideline and have a lot of big plays.
I mean, he could be worth one or two big plays a game that change momentum or put the ball in the end zone or, whatever.
I mean, I'm not going to question his ability. We know the guy can play football. I'm sure he can come back and have an impact on whatever team he plays for. But what I saw today is, what bridge will Randy Moss burn next? And it's almost inevitable. It's sad to say. The guy just,
everywhere he's gone.
It's happened everywhere he's gone. And, if he could just stick to football, he would have been a great wide receiver. But he just really has taken his legacy to a negative side with all those, bad reputations he's gained over the past.
When he first came out of Marshall and got drafted by the Vikings, people were talking about him like he could possibly be the best wide receiver of all time. I mean, he was a freak. Him, Culpepper, and Chris Carter were dominating. They had the Vikings. I think they went to the NFC Championship game. And then we're talking about him now, like what bridge is he going to burn next? And I mean, that's just unfortunate that you have somebody with this amount of talent who can't put it all together and can't just be, humble himself for the greater good of the team.
And that's why personality is a big characteristic you look at when you're drafting a player of that caliber, especially. And like you know,
well, he was supposed to be the next Jerry Rice. Obviously, he's not. No one's ever going to be Jerry Rice. But like I said before, he has been a quitter his entire career. He's quit on the Vikings. He's quit on the Raiders. He quit last year when he went to the Vikings, back to the Vikings, and went to the Titans because they were not good teams. And he was upset that he left the Patriots to begin with. Even his ex-teammate Chris Carter said, he may be the most talented guy I've ever been around, but he just has this thing in him, this mechanism where he quits. And like we said, he has to go to a team with a superstar quarterback, already a great organization, and that's the only type of team he would help out.
The other thing that I find interesting is on some of these teams that he's quit on good teams and teams that have been right there. I mean, a few years ago, he quit on the Patriots, and they were, I think, in the AFC Championship game or divisional round. What are you doing? I mean, you have a shot at winning the Super Bowl, and you're just quitting on your team?
Well, that's what it comes down to. Like we said, personality, it's a huge key in a player. You always look for that driven player. Tim Tebow, if he had the talent that Randy Moss had at the quarterback position, who knows where he'd be today. But that wraps up the Cover 3 for this week, Loyal, and keep watching those Hounds. They're going to Marist on Wednesday night. Let's watch them and keep it up, boys. We'll see you next week, Loyal.